language success coach, and here I am going live to talk about this particular topic of why summary writing is so problematic. So this is actually a question I got from Blue Stripes quite some time ago, and I said I would do a video about it, but my schedule was pretty complicated and I didn't do the video. And I said, you know what, let me just come out and do a live and respond to it. And of course, if any of you who are preparing for exams have any specific questions you want to ask, you simply comment below and let me know what those questions are. Because one thing that I discovered when I started teaching nearly 8 years ago is that as a person who has the information, I think certain things are the problem. But then I realized that you learners out there who don't have the information, there are actually specific things that you are aware of as problems, and sometimes you may not even know it's a problem, but you know it's bothering you, and you really need to be able to have someone you can talk to and ask your questions and get feedback. But anyway, without further ado, let us go into the topic and discuss why summary writing is so problematic, because it really is. Every time I get a student, and it's regardless of age, regardless of their state in life. So for example, I've had learners who they're in school, first time writing the exam. I've had persons who were repeating, a couple months after their initial exam, persons repeating years later, persons repeating decades later. And for each single person, summary tends to boggle the mind. Now, I would say the first thing is sometimes it feels like a pointless exercise, especially the way it's presented. It feels like a really pointless exercise in terms of the exam. I admit sometimes it feels pointless, but I often tell my learners that summaries are something you work with on a day-to-day basis. Give me a second. Oh, excuse me. That needed to come out. Okay, so you do summarize things on a daily basis. You actually do summarize stuff on a daily basis. You saw this great show and you want to tell a friend about it, you're going to summarize. You read this great book, or you saw this awesome TikTok, you're going to summarize it. You're not going to tell anyone the actual full length of the book. You're not going to, if it takes you 10 hours to read a book, you're not going to stand up for 10 hours talking about every single thing that happened in the book. You are going to automatically summarize. So summarizing is actually something you can very instinctively, it's probably even more instinctive of an activity in comparison to argumentative or the short story or what you're supposed to do in section B. All right, so what I'm going to do is go into why I think summaries tend to give most people trouble. And again, I've been looking at students and my learners in particular for the last 7.5 years approximately, right about now, and I've seen certain commonalities which I think make sense. So I'm going to read them off. So when you see me look down, it's because I'm reading from my sheet of notes. And these are not in any particular order. These are just, again, based on observation. All right? Beautiful. So, let me just... Okay, great. So, here's the first thing. The explanations for summaries are very vague. Right? So most of the instructions that you will see for summary writing, they sound very vague. And it's like, write in your own words. Don't use examples. Avoid repetitions. And they are actually factual in terms of the advice for summary, but they tend to sound vague at times. So part of the confusion is the fact that these actually exceedingly simple instructions probably need further clarification. All right, they probably need further clarification. So that's the first thing. Second, I would say, hey, this I think I've only seen one person really talk about this um, in a group that I am in on WhatsApp, a PCSG group, and um, it's they mentioned it, but I'm not sure if it was explained fully. So what it is, most students overlook the overall purpose of the article. Like, why is this person writing the article in the first place? Now, you're overlooking it because no one asked you the question. It's not required. But if you don't know why the article was written, you won't be able to find your 5 main points. So if this article is about, what's an article that we saw recently, that I looked at recently? Oh, there's one from, give me a second. I actually want to pull up a past paper because I absolutely did not think of pulling up a past paper. That was not, I won't say the word. Oh my goodness, why am I opening this one? I don't think I've examined this one in full, but I'm opening the January 2024 paper. Just give me a second. Effects of online shopping. Now, CXC, I think, is trying to help you guys find the purpose. This is my conspiracy theory, right? They're trying to help you find the purpose because if you open past papers, especially the more recent ones from like 2020 didn't have any, 2019, or most especially 2021, you will see that there's a title, and the title clues you in into the purpose. So the effects of online shopping is part of the clue of the purpose in 2024's paper, 2024 Jan, okay? I haven't looked at this one in detail, so I'm not going further to clarify that, but I'm telling you that is essentially what is going to help you really hone in on a question. Let me use Jan 2019 because I did that with my students recently, and my explainer videos are up for this one. This one does not, okay, I don't like this summary, I'm so sorry. This was before they started improving summaries a little bit, based on my observation and my conspiracy theories about people. This particular summary in Jan 2019 does not have a title, unfortunately. This is the one with the World Trade Center in 2001. This one is actually about border security in the Caribbean, and in particular border security, focusing on the importance of the role of customs, right? And actually, while they did not include a title in this paper, if you go to the instructions, they have the role of customs in border security. So this is about the role of customs in border security. Most students, when they do this paper, Jan 2019, maybe you have done the same thing, so you let me know. You're right about terrorism and the destruction of the World Trade Center and all of those things, when this article is actually about the role of customs in border security. So again, this Jan 2019 paper is a bit, it's not how they bring the papers now. It's not how they will prepare you for this particular question now. Again, my observation, my conspiracy theories about this CSEC English A paper 2, it is actually coming a lot easier. When I say easier, they're really trying to lay out some little clues for you all. Again, conspiracy theory from Ms Chanelle, right? Great. So again, my second point is that if you ignore the purpose of the article, y'all not gonna, it's gonna be that much harder to find your main points. It's gonna be that much harder to actually get to your summary. It really is going to be much harder. I can't do a summary without knowing the purpose. I always automatically read it to get a gist of what it is, and one of these days I'll hopefully do a video where I'm actually showing you my process for a summary. I think I have a video for my process for an argumentative, but I haven't done a summary as yet. It can be quite colorful. All right. My third point in terms, or my third reason for why summary is a bit challenging for many people, and this one honestly I haven't heard it for a while. I think I heard it when the exam paper first switched, I think in 2018, but I think it may still happen. The advice you get is questionable. So my first reason I said that the advice is vague because it's so simple, and honestly the advice makes sense, but if you write a lot it makes even more sense. But this point is where you get some really questionable advice about doing summary. And let me not blame teachers only for this. This could actually come from fellow classmates as well, right? So it's like, to do your main points, and this is an exact example from real life, actual real life, because my learner who told me about it, she was quite confused by this particular piece of advice. It was, when you go through the article and you pick your main points and you get 1 2 3 4 5, then you put it in 3 2 1 4 5. Summaries do not work like that. So yes, questionable advice, things that just don't make sense. That was my one piece, my one example for that. One piece and me, but that was my one example for that. But if you've had any other questionable advice for summary, you can comment it down below. I'd be interested. So number fourth reason, honestly most of the other reasons students, learners in training, this is going to be in your court entirely. All right, so reason number 4, lack of practice. It doesn't matter what subject I teach, I will tell you that if you don't practice, you will have problems, right? So if every time you open the paper and you open the Jan 2019 paper, and I absolutely hate this summary, it's the only summary I hate worse than this is the one with the moon. I absolutely hate the summary with the moon. But you open this paper and you see World Trade Center, and then you start to melt. You've got to practice it. And actually, I always see, for all questions, the more my learners practice it, the better they get at it. So if you don't practice it, it's just not going to happen. And it's because writing is a skill. Writing is a language skill. If you did not know, every single language has 4 skills: reading, writing, speaking, listening, right? Obviously, languages with written systems or written codes, those have reading and writing, but it is a skill. And worse yet, for writing, it's a skill you have to learn. You learn the skill. Okay, so you want to, how should I say this? You want to just practice it. Just get over yourself, practice it. Okay, practice it. Okay, learners, absolutely wonderful. Then I'm going to say lack of confidence. So it's related to practice, but it's not. It's actually separate. I want you to think of it separately. And again, this is also a reason I will probably apply to any single question, any single subject, any single endeavor in life. You psych yourself out before you even do it, and that's not healthy. It's simply not healthy. So for example, I actually do teach Spanish as well, and I am fully aware that not everyone is the biggest language nerd in the world like I am. Like right now, I have more time. I'm going back to my Mandarin. I'm going back to my Korean. I'm going to jump into my French. Hopefully hit that Japanese up, right? However, if it is that you're not confident in practicing something, it's just not going to happen, right? So that's the point. You can't psych yourself out. And for English, yes, we speak English on a daily basis, but we don't write in English on a daily basis. And even worse, you don't write at this register. You don't often write in formal English. You don't often write in exam mode, right? So the more you do that, the more confidence you would have. So practice and confidence can help each other. But the point is, I really want you to be more confident with your responses and put them out there. I've also seen students second guess themselves so much. They second guess so much that they don't put what they think they should put, and it gets problematic. Okay, so that was my 5th point. Number 6. Oh boy. This one is really key. Okay, this one is really key, and it really will affect your interpretation of the extract. So let me go back to this January 2019 summary that I do not like. If you have no idea what the destruction of the World Trade Center is, you have no idea what customs is as an entity, and often a government entity, you have no idea what CARICOM, nor the CARICOM single market economy, single market is, you would have problems understanding what is going on in this. Let me see if I can find another summary. Let me just open June 2019. I think 2023 had summaries that I liked. When I say like, I don't mean I love it. I just mean they were more doable and less stressful than these horrible ones from back in the day. All right, so June 2019 had navigating social networks. This is the one with the teachers. Just give me a second. There were a lot of social network ones that they've been bringing. Oh yeah, this is the one with the teachers. Right. Good. So in this particular one, if you're not sure what online social networking is, you don't know what social media is, that would be ridiculous if you did not know what social media is. But even when you read this particular summary, if you can't understand the problems they're talking about, and here the problem is, let me zoom in because I feel like I'm mixing it up. Right. The problem here is conduct on social networks, especially when you're a teacher, because you're seen as a professional all the time. If you can't pick up on that nuance meaning those shades in meaning, you're gonna have a hard time. If you don't know that people who have jobs, or maybe even if you don't agree with it, that's another thing. And actually I forgot that, so let me go to that. That's actually point 8. I'm gonna jump and go to that, right, because it's like linked. All right, so I'm just gonna mention it now. Is it at point 8? Yeah, I'll do it as point 8. Right. So I'll go to that at the end. Right, so we've got lack of awareness, point 6. So reason number 7, and it's reason number 7 is actually related to reason number 6, but it's not really. This one is poor comprehension skills. Okay, so one of the issues I do have with the exam is the exam does not actively promote comprehension, and a lot of students think, oh, they took out the comprehension section and comprehension is only in paper 1, so I don't really need to do comprehension. But anytime you read something and you have to decode it or discern what's happening, you are doing comprehension. So that's why when you're in lower form, you'd be doing crazy or you should be doing a lot of comprehension. Yeah, so if it is, you rarely read. And again, I'm going to tell you, the readers are the ones with the cheat codes. Even if you just read fiction and you don't read, let's say you really love programming and you read books on programming, right? Even if you're not like that, whether you're like that or not, once you're reading consistently, it's a lot easier to upgrade your comprehension. And there are actually 4 levels of comprehension. So this is one of those reasons why a teacher will tell you, yes, you should read, right? You should read. I have found that my learners who have been not just taught a love of reading but are used to reading, they tend to find their way and scrape their way out of situations, in not just in English but in other subjects that have a heavy writing criteria, heavy reading criteria. They really do. They really do. So if it is you don't read, and if you're writing in 2025 or 2026 and you happen to be here and you hear this, you've bought yourself more time. Please make reading a habit. It is a natural cheat code. If you are writing in this year, 2024, you still have time. Work with the past papers and get your reading skills to upgrade. It will benefit you. All right. So that was just to recap. The first reason is teaching advice. The instructions feel vague. They're very, very simple. And if you're not used to writing, they will feel vague. They are accurate, they are very good instructions, but they just feel really, really vague. Second reason is that you have no idea what the purpose of the article is, or you overlook the purpose, or you've never been taught that you need to identify the purpose of the article in order to figure out your 5 main points and figure out your summary. Yeah. Third reason is teacher advice is questionable. You get some really crazy advice. Again, I really have one example that came to mind. It's obviously in this video. Number 4, lack of practice. You just don't practice any summaries, so you don't get to improve at it. Number 4, lack of practice. Number 5, lack of confidence, which can attack us in anything, and it's going to, we're going to sabotage our own efforts if we don't, shake it off, right? Number 6, lack of awareness of general topics. And just letting you know, CXC loves so far in terms of the youth topics. They love social media, they love environment, they love health, crime and justice system, but then they really bring some random stuff. So I really wish that they would tell us what topics they would bring. It might make it a little easier to plan. All right. Number 7, poor comprehension, limited reading. Yeah, you rarely read, you have issues with comprehension, it is going to affect you in summary, and unfortunately it would affect you for the majority of the paper. And the paper is set up so that we would know what affects you. In fact, when students come to me who are repeating, I don't ask their grade, I ask for their profiles, so I can know what the issue is. And then number 8, and this one is something I can't believe I forgot it from the list, but this is a top tier problem. You open your paper, you see the topic for summary, and your brain immediately starts to disagree with certain points, and you find yourself writing a persuasive essay. Not even argumentative, God forbid. Argumentative I could still take. You write a full-on persuasive. You hit me with your rationale, you hit me with your reasoning, you hit me with why the government should not pump more money into the customs for border patrol, but they should really pump all that money into the defense force, in particular Coast Guard, because Coast Guards are the ones who are at the border ready to fight off all of the criminal and terrorist elements. No one asked you for that. Yes. So I do find that a lot, and it's so interesting. I have found students who write argumentatives for summaries, and as we're here, I'll give you a clue where it happens again. Writing argumentative for summaries, writing summaries for creative writing, short story, and then for the argumentative, which, amen, thank God, is literally listed as an argumentative, writing persuasive, right? And I'll do in another live why I have a problem with persuasive, right? It throws people off. So that is it. These are the reasons, in my opinion. Okay, my opinion. This is not from CXC. This is based on my experience, based on my work with students and learners, based on interaction over the last 7.5 years with what I have seen in this particular question. All right, so I hope it has given you some sort of direction in terms of knowing what you can do or what you should do, what you should not do for the exam. All right, and for your preparation for the question. Now it is okay. It's almost a month before paper two, and I have something that I normally do, which is a 30-day study plan. So that is something that I would post up. I don't know if I'll post it up as a video. I've done it as shorts. But I don't know if I'll post it up as a video or if I'll do just a full post. I might do both. Alright, so if you're looking for a plan to focus on, I have that. I like the 30-day plan. I prefer you try to start planning from now, but worst case scenario, 30-day plan. I know most of you are probably finishing off SBAs as well right now still. However, that is there. If it is you are looking at this and you are writing in 2025, 2026, listen, you guys can start some of these things from now and make it easy on yourself. All right, as always, this is given to you with success and love. You guys take care. Bye bye, learners.